Hi, I'm Alison Warner, founder of Evolve and Grow and author of Build and Grow. Welcome to the Evolve and Grow podcast show, where I share lots of useful tips and advice to tradespeople who are looking to move off the tools and grow a really successful business. So welcome everyone to this latest episode of the Evolve and Grow podcast show, where I'm delighted to welcome Wayne and Kerry O'Connor. And they are directors and owners of a business called Get Stowed, which is all about storage of your tools, but we'll get into that more in a moment. So welcome, guys, and thanks very much for being guests on the show today.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Yeah.
So I'm very intrigued about your life before you started Get Stowed. Do you want to just explain to the listeners what your business was prior to that?
Yeah, before we started Get Stowed, we ran, and we still do, run an exhibition business. So we used to get to travel a lot all throughout the country, fitting exhibition stands throughout this country and abroad as well. I'm a window fitter as well. A bit of a jack of all trades, to be honest. Well, I'm a trained cabinet maker originally.
Okay.
So, but it's one of them trades. It's a dying trade, really, cabinet making. So I had to adapt to be able to adjust to the world, really. So.
Sure. And you set the business up in 2020. So I'm guessing it was it due to COVID that you took this switch into?
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. We've been doing exhibitions for 14 years. And March 2020, literally, it was like a cliff edge, wasn't it? We were set to have our best year ever. We were so busy, weren't we? Yeah. We were going to expand. It was going to be a brilliant year. And then everything, it's not an unusual story, is it? We're not unique. It happened to a lot of businesses, didn't it? But it fell off a cliff edge. And we were suddenly sort of sat around twiddling our thumbs with nothing to do. So
because all the exhibition halls, they turned into hospital, not Nightingale hospitals.
Right. So, yes. Yeah. Of course. And so did you consider, we'll get on to what Get Stowed does in a bit more detail in a moment, but what other sort of things, if any, did you consider doing?
Well, we did lots of stuff, didn't we? We thought about doing little bespoke sort of gifty type wooden things, because that's where our skill set lies in working with wood. But there's sort of no money in that. It's quite difficult to make a living.
You've got to kind of produce a lot to make any money.
Yeah,
we were thinking about making things for weddings as well, like benches with people's names on and all that sort of stuff. And they have their lights up in their names up with lighting and stuff as well, don't they? So
but of course, there were no weddings.
Of course, yes.
So, it was a tough time. And neither of us are the sort of people to sort of sit around doing nothing. We like to be busy. We were just busy sort of experimenting with what to do, weren't we? Coming up with ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And so how would you sum up Get Stowed? If you were selling it to me as a potential customer, how do you kind of explain what it is that you do?
Basically, Get Stowed makes vehicle storage solutions. We've got a range of products that we sell online in kit form, so you can order them and they're shipped out to you on a pallet. It's vehicle storage, so it's to organise the back of your van or your truck. Right. And it's also, a big factor of it is keeping your tools tucked away, stowed away, and out of sight. So any opportunist thieves will look through the windows of your 4x4, not see anything, and move on to the next.
Okay. Right. And was there a particular incident that happened that led to you thinking of this, or?
Yeah, I'll let you tell this one.
Well, quite a few years ago when I was working in exhibitions, I had my van broken into up in London, and all of my tools, the whole lot, got nicked out the back. So it's little things like that I've had for over 30 years and stuff. And you get so used to, I had a block plane and it was just set up. It was just, I loved using it because it was spot on, but trying to replace things like that, you go off and get replaceable, but they just don't work the same and stuff and that. So you get quite attached to your tools as a tradesman.
Absolutely, of course you do. Yeah, and it's quite devastating for a small business, isn't it? Because it's hopefully covered on insurance, but then, you have to wait for the money to come through, and there's a delay, exactly.
Yeah. It's also, as well, I was on site building a stand with no tools. So then I've got to go and find a local shop where I can buy some tools to get the job finished and stuff. So, but it could have really dropped. If I didn't have any money or enough money in my savings, I wouldn't have been able to replace my tools to finish the job, which could have caused a whole load of problems. So,
yeah, there's a delay, isn't there, before the insurance pays out. And if you haven't got your tools, you can't work.
So how does your product work then? It basically makes the tools more secure, but also they're not visible.
It's mainly that it's to stop the opportunistic thief, isn't it? So it's to make sure they're tucked away so they can't be seen. And we do sell a version of the units that you can lock. But it's just to make sure that they're out of sight, because that's what they do. They walk past and they look and they see, and
The way we've designed the units as well, from the back of, say, for example, a Ford Ranger van, if they smash the windows, they still can't open the drawers unless they unlock it through the central lock-in as well.
Yeah, they have to get the tailgate down.
So they have to get the tailgate down to open the drawers. Or a lot of people with the Ford Ranger vans, that's another example, what the thieves are actually peeling the doors open, and then getting in through the top to empty them out. But again, because they're all drawers, they can't actually get into the drawers unless they completely open the doors.
Ford Transit.
A Ford Transit custom.
Ford Transit, like the vans, they peel the door open, but they have to get right to the bottom where the drawers are to access the tools. And they're not going to bother. They don't want to spend ages and ages attacking your van because they're more likely to get caught. Thieves tend to be as quick as they can. Yeah.
And so what kind of response have you had? Because I know it is a problem in the industry. Yeah. What kind of feedback and response have you had from the market?
Really good feedback. Yeah. We did have one bloke the other day we felt really sorry for him.
Yeah.
You'd say it because you were speaking with him.
Oh yeah, I spoke to this fella the other day. He rang in and he wanted to order a unit and he wanted to have it fitted, but he was quite busy, so we couldn't sort of arrange time. He was going to come back to me, and I rang him a few days later and he was like, "Oh, my van's been broken into." So in between him finding the product and wanting to order it, he had his tools told him. Yeah, it's really unfortunate.
And do you have any competitors? Is there anybody else doing this sort of thing?
There are competitors out there. There's people that they're very expensive but making metal drawer units. But the way we've made our units is we actually scribe them into the back of the van, so there's no gaps down the sides for tools or bits to fall down, whereas the metal units come as a square unit where there's still gaps for stuff to fall down out the way on that side.
The other advantage of doing it the way that would is that we can make them bespoke very quickly and easily, do a design, and then if they want additional racking and things like that, we can adapt it to do that, can't we? Yeah.
And would you say there's any particular trade that is showing more of an interest than others, or is it pretty uniform across?
We've had all sorts, haven't we? We've had carpet fitters, we've had plumbers, we've had
electricians.
Yeah, we had a kitchen fitter the other day. Yeah, just
forestry people as well.
That irrigation specialist. On the golf course. All sorts.
Interesting. So
we have actually designed one as well. Sorry to butt in, but we've had one designed up as well with an extra long drawer so that a bloke could fit his guns in there because it does a lot of clay pigeon shooting and that as well.
Yeah, that's an example of changing the design, though, isn't it?
And do you think that? How do you see that scaling? Because I suppose doing something that's bespoke, how do you then do it en masse? Is there a challenge there, do you think?
Yeah, I think there definitely is a challenge there because, most of the time we're selling the standard units. It's what people want. They're quite happy with that. But every so often somebody will come in and say, you've got the one that you're working on at the moment that's quite complex. They've got all sorts of different
fittings for their tools and that. They've got like plumb saws as well, so they want to be able to fit their rails in and longer levels and stuff as well. But that's great because it breaks it up. It makes it, sometimes it can get a bit boring, can't it, producing the same thing day in, day out, but it's like problem solving. And
I think that taps into like exhibition stands, doesn't it? Because each one was different and like that taps into that, keeping it changing and moving.
Definitely,
Yeah.
So Wayne, you've obviously got a trade background, but was there any particular research that you did into the market to get to grips with the new business?
Not masses to start off with. I had a friend that's a plumber who's got a Ford Ranger van. He came up because he's very OCD, wanted to have it all organised all nicely in the back of his truck. And without being nasty to him, he's only very small as well, and he's having trouble reaching into the back of his van, into the back of the truck. So he basically came up to me and said, I'd kind of like a drawer unit in the back of my van, I want the drawers to open nice and like out so I can reach in, and I don't want to lose tools down the side. So he basically left it with me for a week while he went on holiday, and came back and I designed it, and he was like made up with it. So
that's where the idea came for the not allowing tools to slip down the side. Yeah. And what sort of skills do you think were transferable from running the events business to then running this business?
Well, obviously, like carpentry skills and cabinet making and stuff. I don't really know what else. What are the skills it's brought?
I think there's loads of skills that transfer across. Well. Yeah, there's definitely that thing of problem solving. Like with an exhibition stand, if there's an issue, you've got a strict deadline and you've got to meet it. And I think that sort of quickness of thought of how to solve a problem if somebody comes in and says, I want it like this, and sort of assess it and think, no, I can do that or I can't.
Yeah, and flexibility.
Definitely.
And I always say it really doesn't matter, what sort of business you've got. At the end of the day, you've got a customer to serve, you've got money to make, you've got people to influence. At the end of the day, business is it's simple, not always easy, but it's a simple thing.
It has actually been quite strange doing this, from going from exhibitions to fitting units, because an exhibition stand has to be built on that day, by that day at that time, because the event starts the following day and that. So there's no putting time off or anything.
No flexibility whatsoever. Yeah.
When we first started, we had a few jobs come in building the units. And I was trying to squeeze it all in to get it done as quick as possible so that I could keep going and stuff. And I was getting myself in a bit of a pickle, wasn't I?
Yeah. And in the end, I was like, what are you doing? You can just schedule it all in, so you can just do one a day until they're done.
Yeah. It's easy. Yeah, quite. You haven't got those deadlines. Yeah.
You don't have to rush.
I think it's been drummed into me, though. I've got to get it done as soon as I can. Whereas this, I can take a bit more time, and it's not so rushed either. So.
And it's spot on as well.
Yeah. The way, because now it all runs through our CNC machine as well. We have it all like preloaded on a USB, so everyone is spot on. So yeah.
And the other difference as well is, like with an exhibition stand, when you hand it over, you're handing it over to somebody that works for a large sort of business or a large-ish business, and you don't get the same sort of feedback, do you, on an exhibition stand as you do with the units, because these units, the trades people, they use them every day, and it directly affects their lives and it makes their life easier. And well, you can say some of the feedback you've had. It's just brilliant, isn't it? It gives you a real buzz. It
does, yeah. Handing it, because if someone comes in for a fitting, then we'll let them sit in the canteen. And when I finish, I'll close the back of the vehicle up, and they come out and open it up, and they're all like, oh, wow, that's amazing. I've actually had people like yee-hawing and like clipping their heels, skipping out of the workshop.
Excellent.
So excited. And you get, that's just brilliant job satisfaction.
Yeah, that one fella, let me ring my wife. I need to ring my wife.
I had a bloke drop a van in he's a long wheelbase van, and it was a full base unit that we fitted. And he got dropped off by his wife, and he opened up the van and just ran off down the roads chasing his wife. And I was like, oh my God, what's happened to that? And he got his wife to come back up, and he said, look at this. It's brilliant. Look how amazing this is. And he's actually climbing inside it. And that,
it's nice, isn't it? It's lovely that they love it.
Because you're working with small business owners. That's the thing. So it's much more personal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I would imagine the exhibitions, there were quite, big companies, really.
It's corporate,
It's corporate. Exactly. Yeah. So there is
We've
that.
Also had a bloke in a few weeks ago as well who's had a large base unit fitted, and he opened up the back of his truck, and it was, I've never seen anything like it in my life. The mess that was in the back.
Oh, I can believe it.
He was so embarrassed as well.
Like floor to ceiling, just crammed with tools and stuff, all been thrown in, buckets, you name it, rakes, everything was in there. And I was like, please let me take a picture, because I'll put it on our social media of like before and after. And he was so embarrassed. He's like, no, I can't let you do that. And I was like, please, I won't like I won't say whose van it is, but he just would not let me take a picture. Yeah. Such a shame.
Something's just popped into my head there, actually, because, a lot of the trades, they're not just storing the tools, they're also storing stock. And that's something that we come across with clients, is that sometimes they'll have far too much holding stock in the business, which is costing them. and they're not necessarily realizing that that's a cost. It's sat on a van rather than in their bank account.
Yeah.
Is that something that you do as well, creating storage for stock and kind of helping them create a system?
We have dabbled in that a little bit, haven't we? We had the farrier come in, didn't we? We did his unit, and then he went away, and then he came back and he said, actually, could you just do this little bit here, because that's where I keep all my horseshoes. And that's his stock, his horseshoes, all lined up.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That might be something, an additional thing rather than tools, or in addition to tools, I should say. Enabling some kind of system to help trades manage their stock more efficiently.
But that's the whole thing of with it being so organised as well. Like a window, for example, will have all their glues and silicons and stuff, but if they can see it, if it's organised, it's not buried, is it, as well? So
exactly. That's right. That's right. Because if it's not organised, then the team, they just order more. They don't see what's there. And
we know about that.
I haven't got time to look for it, and I'll just get on the phone to the merchants, and then and I'm picking it up in terms of the percentage of the cost of materials. So
I've had it in the past fitting windows as well, where you send someone down to the van to go and get a certain tool out your van, and if it's not organised, they can be down there for like 15, 20 minutes.
Which is another cost, isn't it? It's time, labour. Yeah.
Wanting to knock off, and you can't because
But inefficiency costs money, without a doubt. Yeah. And do you think it's got worse over the last few years? Tool theft?
I don't know if it's got worse. I mean, obviously it happened to you, didn't it? That was quite a while ago, probably about 10 years ago, when you had all your tools stolen.
Yeah.
We did get some statistics last year about theft, and they were saying that vehicles broken into once every 23 minutes.
Really?
Which is, it's quite a
trade
shocking.
Vehicles.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, quite scary. And obviously some areas are worse than others, but.
Of course. And what sort of other advice would you have for trades to help protect them from tool and vehicle theft?
I would just say keep your tools out of sight as much as possible.
Yeah, put them away.
If it takes you 20 minutes to unload your vehicle at the end of the day, it's a lot. It's going to take you a lot more time when you come down in the morning and you've got to go through your insurance, go out and replace them all. You can't do your work for that day either. So, out of sight, out of mind for your tools.
Or get one of your storage units and they're out of sight. Yeah. And don't have to spend that 20 minutes unloading at the end of the day. So what kind of plans do you have to expand the business?
We're basically, with the exhibitions, there's a massive waste because a customer will have a stand built. Sometimes they'll store it and put it in again at another date, but quite often it'll all go to landfill. We do recycle as much as we can, but obviously it's just such a waste of materials. With the draw units that we're making, we're really trying to look into getting what's called an eco-ply, which is basically recycled plastics. At the moment, they're not quite strong enough, for weight to go on top of them, and that really. I mean, we've
just found they're a little bit inconsistent, aren't they, with the thickness?
Yeah.
It's not quite there yet, is it?
It's not quite there, but that's something that we'd really love to go down that route and make it so it's a lot more like eco-friendly.
I think anything in that kind of space is very, very topical, isn't it? But And what have you learnt as a small business owner? What would you say are the important lessons from pivoting effectively, going from one business to starting a new one?
Mostly is shop around for prices and play the bigger companies off against each other and barter with the prices. You can knock them down a bit and stuff as well, because otherwise you can get charged an awful lot of money.
Definitely agree with that.
I think that is a key one for trades, because often they get so busy they just don't have the time to do that, and it's kind of again, it comes down to cost. It's a cliche, but it's working smarter, not harder, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you can get an account set up with a company, can't you, so that you don't have to keep going in and paying cash out all the time. You get an account that you pay off monthly or whatever, and it's so easy to just think, it's easy. I'll just phone them up, get it ordered, they deliver it. But then they can keep sneaking their prices up. So it's so important to keep an eye on your...
Absolutely, especially the last 6 months, what we've seen happen.
Yeah, the prices have just rocketed, haven't they?
Yeah, massively. Well, some of the prices that we're getting charged have gone up by over 100%, haven't they? So they are starting to slowly come down now, but whether they'll ever get back to the original prices, I don't know. So.
I think it's.
I suppose, at least in your business model, it's quite. I presume it's a short turnaround in terms of the place the order, and then you're making it fairly soon after.
Yeah.
So it's not like the building trade where they might have quoted, say, 6 months ago, and now they're starting they're still on the project and they're incurring that increase. Yeah. So where can listeners go to find out more about what you do? Presumably you've got a website and social media.
We've got a website, getstowed.co.uk. Actually, we're just having that redone. So hopefully next few weeks we'll have a nice shiny new website. Yeah. And we're on social media.
Okay. Fabulous. Great. Well, thank you very much, both of you, for coming on the show today. And well done on coming up with such an innovative way of dealing with the lockdown and pivoting your business. Really interesting.
Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. I really hope you have enjoyed today's podcast. I would love to invite you to join our Trades and Builders Business Growth Group on Facebook, where I regularly share lots of information to help you create a more successful trades business. You can also order a copy of my book, Build and Grow, which is available on Amazon.